Hey there, YouTubers. Just wanted to give you a rundown of my three-step winterization process. A lot of guys just throw some antifreeze in their lines, but there's a lot more to it to winterizing your camper. And I just wanted to give you a quick view of how I winterize my camper and what it looks like when I'm all done. Before I do that, you can see here behind me, I have my camper. This is a home-built camper, and you can click on the link up at the top right here to see how I built this camper, or click on my channel down below, and you can see the inside and outside tour of this camper, how to load it onto your truck, and things like that. So here you can see I've got my camper stored for the winter, and I have a three-step process that I use when I'm winterizing my camper. Basically, I've got the winterization of the camper, ventilation, and preservation. So most people you might find are just concerned about putting in the antifreeze into the lines. And you can see here, this is the plumbing antifreeze that you would use. And there's a few steps to using that, and there's lots of videos on how to do that. So I'll just run down quickly what I do on my camper. And every camper is going to be a little bit different. I built this camper, so you can imagine that it's not as fancy as some of the custom built ones that manufacturers make, but I wanted to make my camper light and simple, and you can see my other videos on my channel. So basically all I do is I drain my water, and right by the tank inside there's a line, and it just drains out the side right here. Sorry, down here. Drains out the side right down here. And that's the only thing I have to do really on my camper, is to drain that one main tank. Then I take the winterization antifreeze, put it in the pipe here. It goes into the tank, and then I just go inside the camper and I just turn on the pump and I run it through all the lines. And in my camper, I really only have the one line goes into the sink. A lot of other campers you're going to find they're going to have outside showers or outside taps, the toilet, showers inside, things like that. You're also going to want to turn all those on and get that antifreeze, plumbing antifreeze, through the whole system. The second step to winterizing my camper is ventilating it. So one thing people forget to do a lot of the time is you want to get some ventilation through your camper. If you lock it all up tight, have all the doors closed and everything, fridge shut up, all the drawers and everything closed, you're gonna find that you get sort of a musty, sort of moldy smell in your camper, because there's moisture in there over the winter and it's sitting for 6 months. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up, crack your windows, crack your back door if you've got a vent in that. Open up all your curtains, so you want to slide all your curtains open so that they can get some ventilation behind them. Crack your top vent if you've got top vent on your camper, crack that a little bit. And it's really important to open up your fridge. The fridge will get all musty and moldy smelling if you don't open it up. So I usually just open the door, take something like a bottle, or in my case I'm just using a salt pepper shaker. Just stick it in the door so the door's open. It's important too to make sure that you open up the freezer door and let that have some air too. It'll keep the fridge from getting all gross over the winter. Also, I like to open up my drawers, give them a little bit of airflow as well. So I just kind of open up all the drawers in the camper and swell the cupboards and cabinets as they also can have some moisture buildup in them. So you want to have them open and vented. So just make sure everything's sort of open, have a bit of air flowing through. And another thing you can do when you're in here is you can put a light, if you have it by your house and you have it plugged in, you can just plug a light in here, put a 100-watt bulb or 60-watt bulb, whatever you've got. Don't put an incandescent because they don't have a lot of heat coming off of them. But that 100-watt bulb can keep enough warmth in the camper just to kind of keep the chill out. It also promotes the air to come in the bottom and the heat to go at the top, so it gives you that little bit of airflow. Another thing I do when I'm doing the ventilation of my camper is I just stand up my cushions so they have a little bit of airflow around them. It'd be better if you have the space to take them in the house and put them somewhere warm, but I don't have that space, so I just leave them in the camper. Also, I jam a couple cushions underneath, as you can see here, as a mattress, just to get a bit of airflow underneath the mattress, so in case it has any sort of moisture under there, it's just going to vent out. And that's about it for ventilation. Okay, so step number 3 is preservation. And it's very important, especially on the west coast of Canada where I live, when you get a lot of rain, you get some snow and freezing, is that you either have a shelter like I do here, where I've built onto the side of my house to keep the rain and snow off of the camper or RV. And that might be just a shelter that you put over it, or one of these, like you see in the background there, like a plastic tent kind of structure that you can buy, or even as much as just throwing a tarp over top of it just to keep the rain off. But it's important that if you do put a tarp over it, that you keep the tarp up off of the camper. So you're going to build some sort of a small A-frame, or put some 2x4s or 2x6s across the top of the camper to drape the tarp over. Again, that's part of ventilation, so you want to keep that airflow and so that moisture is not sitting on the actual camper itself. It's usually dusty and dirty from that last trip back down dirt roads. So you want to wash the camper really well, clean it inside and out. Makes it easier when you're going to be using it in the spring as well. It's already done for you. And then after I've washed it, I go around and check all the seals. Mine, because it's a one-piece camper, fiberglass, there's not a lot to check. But I do check just here around all the windows, check around all the vents, and anywhere that the water could intrude into the camper over the winter. And just get some sealant and just reseal those if it's necessary. Another thing you want to do is clean the window drains. So on this side, I don't have any window drains on it, but I'll see if I can show you on the other side. Any of the windows that open, they're going to have a window drain on them. And there's a little hole where the water drains out of the windowsill, where it sits in where the window opens. And you want to make sure you clean those out often. And I put a couple extra ones in mine just so that the water would drain out of there. Because if it doesn't drain out of there, it's going to sit in the windowsill there, and eventually if the seal goes in the corner here, that will leak into the camper. So you could even pour a little bit of that plumbing antifreeze into the windowsills, and then that'll drain out. It'll also stop that from freezing and cracking anything in your windowsills. So I've got some in the opening of the bathroom window there as well at the top. The other thing you want to do if you've got a camper or even a trailer is you want to support it. You want to support underneath the camper. So I've got these sawhorses that I built, and I've just run a 2x6 across underneath the front and the back here, and support it in where the main structure of the camper is, so that it doesn't have any weight on the jacks anymore, because the jacks, they can support it, but they're not meant to support it for extended periods of time particularly. And you want to make sure that's level so that the camper's not twisted or anything like that when it's sitting up on those. I also see a lot of people leave their jacks all the way down when they've got it stored over the winter. And you don't want to do that for the simple reason that inside this tube here, there's a big shaft, and it's a piston that's run with the hydraulic part of the jack. And if you leave it all the way down, that's exposed to the environment, that it's outside environment, and it will tend to rust and get pitted. And then when the first time you go to put it up in the summer, those rusted pitted marks will wreck the seals inside here. So always lift them up all the way when you're storing the camper, and just leave it on the supports that you've made to support it underneath the actual camper itself. If you're running a trailer, it's good to jack up the axles and just take the weight off of the wheels, so you can support underneath the axles and just take the weight off the wheels over the winter, and cover your wheels up if they're in the sun as well, to stop them from getting sun bleached and stuff like that, and cracking in the sun. And that's about it. So basically, if you do those 3 steps, you do the plumbing, you do the ventilation, and you do the preservation by just getting it out of the rain. That's all you need to do, and you'll have a camper that lasts a lot longer, won't have any leaks, and won't smell funny in the spring when you go to use it. Definitely this one-piece unit, fiberglass unit, is a good way to go. And you can see by my other videos how I built it, and gives you a little bit tour of the inside and outside and how I load it onto my truck. So check those out. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, because I've always got new videos coming up about campers and boats and repairs to trucks and other pieces of equipment. Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day. Thanks.